Welcome back to the El Yucateco channel. Today I am going to be making for you one of my favorite brunch recipes of all time. Nachos for breakfast. That's right. Today I'm showing you how to make chilaquiles. It's messy, it's delicious, you can serve it family style. It's great for Saturday, it's great for Sunday. Heck, it's even good for a Tuesday. I'm gonna show you how I make my version of chilaquiles using El Yucateco, infused throughout. You're gonna enjoy it. Hit subscribe, make sure that you get notified when we put new videos up here because the recipes are just gonna get better from here. I'm Josh, let me show you how we get started on this awesome brunch recipe. So this recipe is super simple to make. I'm gonna actually go the extra mile and fry my own tortilla chips, but if you wanna go to the store and get your favorite tortilla chips and use them, that's okay too. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna show you how I do a really quick fry on some store-bought tortillas. These are white corn. They work really well. As you can see, they're a bit smaller. It makes really perfect sized tortilla chips. Relatively cheap. I'll show you how I do it my way. I just think it makes a big difference when you put fresh chips on the table. Not that difficult to fry them up yourselves. I told you earlier that this can be served family style. This is the type of dish that you wanna make it in. I have a really large skillet at home. I have like 2 or 3 of these. Find the biggest one you have because it's gonna be helpful, especially if you're putting it in front of 3 or 4 of your guests. Everyone can serve themselves. Really simple. If not, you can plate it individually. But I'm gonna show you all the tips and techniques to make your brunch a success. Chilaquile time, let's get cooking. So the first thing I like to do is to get the chips out of the way. So I am heating just a little bit of cooking oil on a medium to high flame into a small saucepan. The reason why I'm using a smaller saucepan is that I don't want to use a ton of oil. I'm going to fry the chips in batches. Don't have to go crazy here, just put enough to cover maybe about 1 or 2 inches of the entire saucepan. When you start frying your chips, you're gonna be moving them around constantly and pushing them under the oil with a pair of tongs. This way you don't have to go through a ton of cooking oil. Makes it very easy. When the chips turn dark brown, that's when you wanna start removing them. Keep in mind, if you put a ton of chips into your oil at once, by the time you get them all out and draining, they may start overcooking towards the end of the batch. So that's why I'm working in really small batches. As soon as you start seeing it turn a little bit dark, that's when you start removing it. The chips that come out last are still gonna be cooked perfect. Putting them in a pan with a wire rack on top is gonna help drain the excess oil. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of kosher salt as I go, moving in batches, making sure that all the chips are sitting on the rack at the end. This way I have them good to go for when it's time to make my sauce. Speaking of sauce, it's important to measure all of your ingredients out ahead of time. I'm gonna show you exactly what I like to do. It's called mise en place. Get all your ingredients in a row. That way when it's time to throw them all in the pool together, it's super simple. I have in front of you right now ground cumin, I have garlic powder, dried oregano, a little bit of salt, a pinch of cinnamon, and I've got some tomato paste already portioned out. What I have separately is a little bit of vinegar that I'm gonna be using and measured out 2 cups of vegetable broth. The entire recipe is below in the comments section, so feel free to look at it to follow along. You can copy that, print it out, and then save it, and that way you can make this for your next brunch date. Now that the chips are all done cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get my large skillet over a medium flame with 3 tablespoons of oil to preheat in there. Once it's hot, I'm gonna throw in all of those spices that I showed you earlier, including 3 tablespoons of flour and something for a little bit of an extra kick, a whole Ancho Chili. This is gonna add even more depth of flavor to the sauce. Trust me on this one, it's worth it. So here we go, flour, chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, oregano, some salt, a pinch of cinnamon. I'm gonna mix that all together and let it simmer with that chili pepper, that dried ancho, for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once all of that flour has been cooked out, I'm gonna start slowly adding my veggie stock to this. Maybe a 1/4 cup at a time while you're stirring. You wanna make sure there are no lumps. Keep adding your veggie stock every so often while stirring. This is important. You don't want any lumps in the final sauce. And you know I'm adding El Yucateco's red chili habanero sauce to this. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon now. Now the sauce is starting to look really good. It's thickening up perfectly. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of fresh cilantro, about 2 tablespoons worth, and a touch of white distilled vinegar. Keep stirring it. At this point, the sauce is done. You can just move it off the burner, keep it on low heat, and start getting your eggs fried up. I'm gonna show you how I put my spin on some fried eggs. You're not gonna wanna miss this. This is awesome. Now that the Chilaquile sauce is done and pushed to the side, I'm gonna start making my eggs. The important thing to remember is, depending on how many guests you have, plan for at least 1 egg per guest, sometimes more if you have a little bit of a hearty appetite like myself. I like to fry them in batches of 4 at a time maximum. That way you have enough room to get in there with the spatula, move them around, and make sure they're cooked perfectly. Don't worry, fried eggs don't take that long to cook, and the sauce is gonna hold real well. You can easily cook 1 at a time, do it real quick. But today I'm gonna show you how I do an El Yucateco hot sauce fried egg. This is gonna be awesome. Let me show you how to do an El Yucateco hot sauce fried egg. So the first thing you wanna do to get your El Yucateco hot sauce fried egg going is to put a little bit of your favorite El Yucateco in the base of your pan with a tiny bit of olive oil or regular cooking oil. I like to use olive oil just because it gives it a really unique flavor for fried eggs. Get it on medium heat. Once it starts sizzling, put your egg on top. Be careful, this may splatter a bit, so don't worry if you have to lower the heat just a tiny bit to keep the splatter under control. You can also add a quick lid or a splatter screen like you would use for frying on top of it, but trust me, it's not gonna be too crazy. Just make sure you're using a big enough pan so that way all of the eggs can be separated and easy to fish out once they're done. So after the eggs are done, I'm gonna put those onto a clean plate and set it aside, get my sauce back in front of me. Remember those tortilla chips that we made earlier? Those are now going into the sauce on low heat. Cover them well, keep tossing them. The goal here is to have them soften just a bit so that way you can get a fork through them without them breaking. Be careful when you're tossing them in the sauce. You want nice even coverage, but don't go too crazy. You don't wanna break the chips. After the chips are a little bit tender, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes in the sauce, this is when you can start getting prepared for your final accoutrements, the stuff that's going on top of our breakfast nachos today. I'm gonna throw in some of my favorites: Cotija cheese, avocado, red onion, thin sliced red radish, but you can go nuts with this. You can put anything on these that you want. If you wanna add more protein and you wanna do some sort of pulled chicken, go for it. If you wanna add refried beans and try to make it a little bit more nacho-like, the sky is the limit. Take the base flavors and build upon it. Hey, nachos are personal. Everyone likes different types of nachos. Build it the way you want. That's the beauty of this recipe. Well, that's it. Dishes are done, belly is full, and I am so happy I got to share with you how I do my signature chilaquiles. But I'm interested to know, how are you gonna make this your own? What signature ingredients will you be adding? Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think is gonna make this even more over the top than it already is. Remember, El Yucateco has some great recipes coming out. Be in the know. Make sure you hit that bell to get notified of when a new video drops. Hit subscribe so it comes right to YouTube for you. Keep in mind, there are a variety of different uses for El Yucateco. How are you gonna use it to show your friends and show your family who the king of flavor is? I'm Josh, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the El Yucateco channel.